Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk about 1984. No, not the year, but the book. Published in 1949, George Orwell's 1984 seems to have, been picked up as a playbook by the socialist left and the World Economic Forum. If you have never read this book, you should at least watch the movie. It is available on YouTube, though it's not as detailed as a book, but you get a general idea for what it's about. So with many references, recently, like make Orwell fiction again, I figured, why not, have a look at some of the parallels between the book and what we have going on today in our society. In the book, 1984, there were cameras and listening devices everywhere. This was, a source of paranoia. Big Brother was always watching. But in our lives today, many of us have a smartphone. It listens in on everything that you say and everything that you look at on the internet, and you don't even seem to fear it. You got all these kooks today that seem to be out there, worried about this new vaccine and microchips and all this other stuff. Cool your jets, guys. Don't be a fool. You already have one. It's in the form of your smartphone that you carry around in your pocket everywhere that you go. So why the hell would they need to put one in a vaccine? Monitoring you has become commonplace in our society, and we've accepted it with open arms. Remember, Big Brother is always watching you, even in your sleep. To quote 1984, he who controls the past controls the future. He who controls the present controls the past. We see this today in the rewriting of history and erasing of historic truths, the hijacking of educational institutions by the thought police, aka the radical left, and, university professors and teachers in our schools, the tearing down of monuments. In some social studies classes in universities and in high schools, students aren't even permitted to comment or disagree with the ideas in the class. What the hell has this world come to where critical thinking is discouraged in a school because it risks offending someone? Using history to divide people on race and seed hate in people seems to be right out of the playbook of these liberal ideologues. Preach about hate. Preach about white privilege and the man keeping you down, the patriarchy, black oppression, police brutality, you name it, any victimhood narrative that you can find, throw it out to that minority and create hate and divisions in the population. Your enemy could be your friend and neighbor. Divide and conquer. The left are experts at this. It's taken me quite some time to see this, but I've come to the conclusion that it's the radical left and liberals that seem to be the most racist people of all. They can only see things on the spectrum of your identity. Whatever group you fit into, you're a visible minority, or you're gay, or you're trans, or whatever. If you aren't part of some victimhood minority, well, you're not really all that interesting. Yet it's the ruling class that the left seem to support, although they claim to hate. They take the side of liberals who support the large institutions that they hate the most. Another quote from 1984, the aim of the ruling class is to stay where it is. The aim of the middle class is to overthrow the ruling class. The aim of the lower class is to create a society in which all classes are equal. Big Brother has so organized the inner party that there is no danger of the ruling class being deposed. Does this sound familiar? Social justice warriors want to take away from the rich and redistribute that wealth to the poor. Sounds almost like a Bernie Sanders thing. But what they don't know, that will never happen. The middle class will, however, disappear, and their wealth will be redistributed amongst the ruling class. We're seeing this redistribution of wealth today with people losing their homes as a result of these COVID lockdowns. Losing their homes, losing their businesses. The middle class are the enemy. In 1984, the use of fear to strengthen the powers of the establishment was commonplace. People relied on the establishment to protect them, to give them their safety. There is an enemy out there, and you need to hate that enemy. Don't worry, we will protect you. All you need to do is give up your right to, well, whatever, create some sort of crisis. We've seen this in 9/11, during September 11th. We gave up the rights to, privacy. Now, I'm not saying 9/11 was some, government-created conspiracy, but it is something that gets used quite often, and we see this now with COVID, too. We've given up other rights and freedoms. We've allowed the governments to tell us what to do, that, we can't spend time with our families. They're telling us who we can see, how many people we can see. Maybe with this vaccine, they may make it mandatory and tell us where we can work or if we can work at all. And with the fear of COVID, well, geez, we're willing to give up any of our rights for that little bit of safety. 1984, you saw the dissolution of church. We're seeing that today. Pews are empty, but yet airplane seats, they can be fully loaded. You can put a ton of people right next to each other in a damn aluminum tube, but you can't let them go sit in the pews in church. Tell me how much sense that makes. In 1984, training children to report and rat on their family members was commonplace, as well as, having neighbors rat on their neighbors. Well, this is actually historic truth. This happened in a lot of Eastern European countries, in Russia, East Germany, all of these places. This was taught to children. Rat out your friends and neighbors. And it's happening here today. I know even in some places in Canada, after Christmas break, children are going to be asked to tell their teachers what they did for Christmas. And teachers are going to be looking at and asking certain questions like, who did you see at Christmas, Timmy? Did you see your grandma and your grandpa and all these people? Oh, yeah. Kids will be happy to rat out their parents to tell the story of how their Christmases went, to see if there had too many people over at Christmas time. Report your neighbor if there's too many vehicles or too many cars outside at Christmas time. Christmas dinner, there might be too many cars in the driveway. This is happening all over the place. And this is a reality. In 1984, they proposed the breakdown of the family unit. That was a big thing. They had newspeak and approved words. We see this with some of the laws the liberals are trying to push now with compelled speech when it comes to gender pronouns and all kinds of other crap. That's just a start. Where is it going to end? We can see the breakdown of the family unit today. Liberals really like to push, social programs and, people's dependency on social programs. And, the nuclear family is not something that they support. Free love, multiple sex partners, things like polyamorous relationships. These are leftist ideologies that are, promoted amongst these are crazy notions that are promoted amongst the left. Your children will see these ideas. These are pushed in the schools as being okay. And during some of the most vulnerable times in your kids' lives, when they're in school, when kids see other kids coming out and being touted as brave and, being so good because some boy comes forward and says, I feel like a girl. Right on, Timmy. It's promoted by social media. The depravity of the extreme leftist ideas have infiltrated all of our schools today. What kids, like I said, wouldn't be happy in accepting those ideas when their peers and their teachers tell them how great and brave they are for embracing those fictional ideas and a world of make-believe? The end of free speech as we know it is coming. The use of compelled speech laws with gender pronouns and all that other crap. Okay. Not even to speak about scientific fact anymore without being persecuted. That's coming next. Well, it's already here. if it goes against the narrative, science doesn't matter. Thank God for Catholic schools. I never thought I'd say that. Some children will at least have a chance to live in a world of reality and not be indoctrinated into some of these crazy ideas. Though I'm not even sure if they're 100% safe. At the end of 1984, the main character is tortured and brainwashed. This happens today in social media. No, maybe not tortured, but definitely brainwashed. You'll be attacked for having ideas that don't align with the social justice norms. I mean, you saw this with Black Lives Matter. If anybody said all lives matter, look out. You can't say what you want without being attacked. Well, you can as long as it aligns with the leftist program. You can't even use scientific principles to defend your position because logic and reason are actually ignored by the indoctrinated. They won't even see it. They won't even listen anyway. You will be outed until you apologize. You see this with Hollywood today. Comedians, politicians, right? They'll get called out by the social justice warriors, the crazy leftists, and then they will grovel and beg, please don't cancel me. They'll grovel and beg apologetically on TV or on social media. I'm sorry, please don't cancel me. I made a mistake. Long live Big Brother. Well, in this case, long live the left. 2 + 2 = 5. Please, I'll do what I'm told. COVID is another great example of how quickly people will just conform. I'll be good, I swear. I'll wear the mask. I'll shut down my business. I'll give up everything in my life. Just don't let COVID get me. Or don't let the COVID police get me. It's absolutely insane. A friend of mine mentioned a quote from Benjamin Franklin, and it really kind of resonated with me. Those who give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. Well, you got it, folks. Those of you that are willing to give up everything because of this crazy COVID made-up crisis, you're not going to get either. You're not going to get safety, and you're certainly not going to get your freedom because you're ready to give that up. We've marveled too long at our technological advancement, without even considering the long-term implications as it relates to our society. We've turned a blind eye, focused on social media. We haven't paid attention. We've been blind to what's actually going on. And we've absolutely neglected our personal responsibility to use technology responsibly. We've given up our freedoms, our belief in scientific principles, our morality for the safety of group identity and membership in some stupid club. Identity politics is where it's at. And, of course, a smartphone in our hands. Heaven forbid we go without that. There was a line from 1984 that is really interesting to me as well. And this is where I think so many people are going. He gazed up at the enormous face. 40 years it had taken him to learn what kind of smile was hidden beneath the dark mustache. Oh, cruel, needless misunderstanding. Oh, stubborn, self-willed exile from the loving breast. 2 gin-scented tears trickled down the sides of his nose. But it was all right. Everything was all right. The struggle was finished. He had won the victory over himself. He loved Big Brother. He loved Big Brother. That was after the brainwashing and when the character had finally admitted that 2 + 2 is 5. Well, folks, many of you out there have won victory over yourselves, and you now believe that 2 + 2 is 5. And that we need Big Brother to take care of us all. We never needed Big Brother to take care of us all. Less government has always served us best. 1984 was a warning about preserving our freedoms. Orwell was 100% right. I can't believe how right he was. Just like Winston in 1984, we have allowed our fears to betray our loved ones and the world. We've betrayed everyone by giving up our freedoms and not standing up to the tyranny of what is to come. Have a great day, folks. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.